Well, hello and welcome. Happy 2023. I am so excited to be jumping off again with these special Friday features where we get to talk to one of our incredible members. And today we are with Pam Frasco, who is a two-time NICU mama and founder of Project NICU, which has just an amazing array of resources and supports for families based out of Cleveland, Ohio, but also, serves all across the country. Pam, thank you so much for starting our new year off with us.
I'm so happy to be here.
Yay. So I want to know, because everybody talks about their NICU experience just, changing their lives. I cannot imagine there is a single person out there that has not been changed. And I would love to know from you how you were personally transformed by your NICU experience. And when I say you were in the NICU twice, that's separate pregnancies, that there were not multiples, right?
Right. Transformed. I mean, yes, that's a word, right? I think, so my first son, gosh, he just turned 11, so crazy. My first son was born at 31 weeks. And I think we hear this all the time when we talk to NICU parents. It just out of nowhere, completely changed your life. Yes, that's what happened to us. I was working. I had a plan. I had daycare planned. I had, a birth plan, all of those things. Didn't quite get to my baby showers or any of those things that were supposed to happen. My hospital tour, none of it. He just came out of nowhere, and within 24 hours, we were new parents. And I think the biggest thing that transformed for me was just realizing that I can't plan everything and prepare for everything. And, it was a shock. Of course. But I think for me personally, those things that used to matter so much to me completely went out the window, right? Because I was just completely focused on my son. And I think it immediately, of course, transformed what I thought parenting was going to be. But my second son was born just 2.5 years later at 30 weeks. And I think almost a bigger transformation for me at that moment, because I was determined to not let it happen again, right? I did everything in my power. I followed all the guidelines. I was very careful. And when it happened again, I felt like I completely failed. Like the first time was like, oh, maybe I missed a sign here or there. But the second time, because I had known what was, the plan. And so that was really hard for me. Because I think, I'm a goal setter. I'm competitive. I'm driven. And that to me, I felt like I was going to check off the box. I was going to make sure I was going to get to that full-term baby, and it didn't happen again. And it was just another reminder that, sometimes these things are out of your control. And, while it was easier in some respects because I had been in that space before, it was harder. The failure piece was a little bit harder for me.
Interesting. So how did you work through that?
I think number one, I had finally met some parents from my first experience, right? And just kind of being coached up or talked through that, you can do this. You make some maybe decisions that you didn't make the first time. Advocate for yourself more. That's one thing I really learned from the first time, but obviously even more so now being in this space about advocating for myself in the hospital. So I try to do that more and just accepting, but it took me years to really forgive myself.
It is not an overnight thing at all.
No. Yeah. So that's been a learning process, and being in this space and, launching Project NICU has helped me learn and forgive and heal that, 30-some-year-old mom, first time mom years ago. And that's been really impactful.
Yeah. And that's what we hear a lot from other families. I mean, I certainly can relate to everything that you just said about just feeling like, you're doing everything right, and then you fail to stay pregnant. And getting over that, I used to think it was guilt, but what I really discovered in my own healing process was that it was shame. It was like, I'm a bad mom. Like, it's me. Like, it's not something I did that I feel bad about. It was like, just me. And, working through that is tough. And it definitely helps when you've got those support services, other parents to talk to. So is that what kind of drove you to start Project NICU? Or was it more of, because we've also heard stories of like, we just wanted to do something nice for the hospital, for the families that, for the hospital that served us well while we were there. So what drove you or activated you to start Project NICU?
Yeah, I think it was a lot of things. I think it was, first, it was I wanted to give back immediately because I was so grateful.
Yeah.
Second, it was I was trying to like fill a hole or a void that I felt like was taken from me. I wanted to like fill that and so that somebody else wouldn't have to go through that. Obviously, realizing how big this is, I knew that it wasn't going to just be me that was going to solve it, but I just felt this desire that I had to do something. In this, and we talk a lot about this with, within the NICU Parent Network and other counterparts across this industry, is just the families you reach. You want to give back and you want to leave something behind and make it easier for them. And that's one of the reasons that this happened, and just wanting people not to feel alone.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that's, it's not easy to start up a nonprofit, to develop programs. You've grown just exponentially over the last couple of years. So can you tell me just kind of what your very first thought was of what Project NICU would be and what it is today and all the ways that you help?
Yes. And it's come so full circle in the last 2 years. So I'll get to that why, but I initially, had started, I wanted to give back to my own NICU. So I was dropping off treats, around the holidays, or sending my old preemie clothes to the hospital. And then it was in late October, I wanted to do something a little bit more. So I just threw something on Facebook with my kids, like, hey, I want to give back to Fairview Hospital, which is where I had my kids. And if you'd like to help me, here's a wish list. I threw an Amazon wish list, and the response was overwhelming. So I was able to actually do care packages for all 5 NICUs in Cleveland. And I took my mom and my grandma to one to deliver. I took one of my best friends to another one to deliver. And that was great. What sparked Project NICU was the response afterwards, because I had written a note for my husband and I, just saying, hey, you may not feel like celebrating right now, but we are with you and we're thinking about you, and congratulations. That's something I never heard when I was in the NICU, right? Because people they don't know what to say.
Right.
So I felt like that was something that was important to acknowledge, that like, this is not the scenario you might have imagined, but congratulations, you're a parent. And so I got some, I left my email address. I got a couple of notes back just from parents like, hey, thank you so much. But even more so from NICU nurses, and just saying, that was really special. If you do anything more like this, let us know. And so I had a good friend who helped me brainstorm, and I just was like, I want to do something. I really wasn't intending on launching a full nonprofit. It was a passion project. But before you know it, I was reaching out to NICU Parent Network and submitted my 501c3, and the full circle piece is among all of the other things we offer. 2 years ago, I had parents had been reaching out asking if we were going to do chapters, or saying they wanted to do their own care packages, which is what I started with. And we just developed this ambassador program that allows parents in other cities to do exactly what I did. And that's been really special.
Yeah, that is fantastic. So what are all of these services? Because you started with care packages, but you have a really robust offering of services and resources for families. So tell us how, what all of those different services and resources are now.
Yeah, I think like a lot of organizations, we really are trying to meet people where they are and have some sort of touch point with parents. So we connect through the care packages. That's just one small way. It's a hopeful that somebody feels acknowledged. That's maybe all they need. In addition to that, we obviously have our social channels where we have, I think our blogs are maybe over 230 individual blog posts that are listed on our website that we share through our social media channels, which is how we really started to grow the last 3 years exponentially. Just people scrolling a hashtag and finding Project NICU and seeing somebody that said something or put something on paper that's something they've been feeling. So those are, it's so powerful. It's so powerful to see something that you're thinking that might feel wrong, but somebody else says it and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel seen. So obviously the social channels, we have a great peer support program. We have virtual support groups weekly. We have a parent mentor program for parents that are currently in the NICU. We have virtual and in-person NICU graduate and parent separate events. We have a counseling program. We partner with BetterHelp and we offer scholarships for free counseling, which I think is really special. That's something that's in its second year. We have a family assistance fund set up at a couple of hospitals for families that are experiencing financial hardships to help cover bill pay assistance. And the real piece is just connection. So whether it's a one-on-one mentoring opportunity or, listening to or watching one of our Instagram stories, again, meeting people where they are.
That is so wonderful. And so obviously you've got the social channels. So if anybody just, looks for Project NICU on any social media platform, they will definitely find you. But if someone sees this and they say, you know what, I want to go to one of those support groups, how would they find exactly when and how to join one?
If you go on our website, projectnicu.com, and go under NICU parent support, our virtual support sign up is right there. You can enter your information. We send out weekly schedules. On our Instagram page, you'll see every week what's coming that week. The minute you sign up, within 24 hours, you'll get information about when those particular groups are. We have specialized groups for everybody. We have just for NICU dads. We have a grandparents one, which has been really special.
That's great.
And then every month we try to offer something unique, whether it's a coffee chat for preeclampsia and HELP syndrome or full-term NICU parents. That's one that I think we just hosted last week, but really we have something for everybody. And if we don't have an answer for somebody, we look to our amazing network within the NICU parent network to refer somebody to.
Wonderful. I think that is just so fantastic. And I love, just the thing that I keep hearing you talk about and that I've heard you say over and over in, past conversations that we've had is just the importance of meeting parents where they're at, that there's not a, cookie cutter formula for support. And so it really is that, that individual connection that you're able to make with them. That's so valuable. So thank you so much for doing this work through that lens. I think is really important.
Yeah. The one thing I always tell our team is if somebody gets a care package and, among all the other things that you're getting when you're in the hospital and you're discharged and maybe 6 months down the road, you're realizing that you really need to talk about it.
Yeah.
The hope is that you remember, oh, I remember that flyer I saw, or, oh, I remember Project NICU just posted something. So you have somebody to reach out to. I think that's what we all wish that we had. Those of us that have went on this journey to launch something, we just wish that we had a resource to text somebody that walked in our shoes, And I think that's what's really special and unique. And that's what keeps all of us going in this space, right? Is knowing that, there are people out there that are going to be in our seat right now that have no one to turn to. And we want to be there to offer them that opportunity.
I love that. And we've got it. We do have a comment that I just want to read out loud to you. So glad you started Project NICU. As someone who unexpectedly went into emergency labor and gave birth to a 24-weeker under 2 pounds, connecting with a community who understands the experience and could acknowledge was so very important to processing the experience and trying to stay strong throughout it all. Thank you.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
thank you for all of the work that you do, Pam. Is there any final thing or anything that you really want to make sure that anybody who's watching kind of leaves with?
I think that the end of the day, give yourself grace. I know we hear that all the time, but whatever you're feeling is valid. Wherever you are in your journey is okay. And if connecting with an organization is not for you right now, and maybe it is down the road, just know that there's Project NICU and so many others out there that are here just for you. And I think that's just important. And for anyone that's watching that doesn't find themselves in the NICU, if you know somebody that might be going through that experience, don't hesitate to reach out and offer resources. They may not call you back, they may not acknowledge it, but just by making that touch point will mean a lot.
Yes, absolutely. And you're right, because a lot of times you don't want it in the moment that you hear about it.
Right.
But, you may get to that point, and then if you're able to go back and find that resource, you say, oh yeah, what was that I heard about or saw or got, this from that group. So, well, thank you so much, Pam. That is all the time we have, but it's just always, I just love getting a chance to see your face and talk to you for a little while. Hopefully we'll actually have an in-person meetup at some point this year. So thank you, Pam, for all that you do and everything that your Project NICU team is able to do every single day for families. Thank you.
Thank you.